a dramatic plume of smoke visible across Los Angeles. The Eden fire has destroyed 1,000 acres, and the Hearst fire has affected about 500 acres. As the firestorm continues to rage with no containment and no end in sight, officials fear the worst is yet to come. Samia Afsar, NDTV World.
Well, the frequency and size of wildfires have increased worldwide over recent decades, and new research actually found exposure to wildfire smoke is more harmful than previously thought. We'll keep tracking the latest as far as LA is concerned. For now, let me also bring you up to date. Donald Trump has escalated his expansionist rhetoric, saying he wouldn't rule out using military coercion to take control of Greenland or the Panama Canal. Trump has issued threats against several U.S. partners. He floated using economic force to annex Canada, though officials in Canada have staunchly pushed back. He also proposed renaming the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America. He pushed it a little by also posting a map, an own version of his, that staked claim to Canada. Well, take a look at the recent developments that Trump has made.
This is not the new map of the United States. This is another instance of Donald Trump hinting that Canada could be taken into U.S. territory. Sending shockwaves across the globe, the map shows the whole of Canada as part of the U.S. The U.S.-Canada boundary is the world's longest between two countries. It was established in treaties dating back to the founding of the U.S. in the late 1700s. Trump claimed the U.S. spends billions of dollars protecting Canada, while criticizing imports of Canadian cars, lumber, and dairy products.
You said you were considering military force to acquire Panama and Greenland. Are you also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No, economic force. Because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like, and it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget, we basically protect Canada.
Canadian leaders have so far showed a united front against Trump's rhetoric, with outgoing Prime Minister Justin Trudeau saying there's no chance Canada would become part of the US. Opposition leader Pierre Poilievre took to X, saying that Canada will never be the 51st US state.
You know something? To the president, I'll make him a counteroffer. How about if we buy Alaska, and we'll throw in Minnesota and Minneapolis at the same time?
The rhetoric in the Trump camp doesn't stop with US President-elect. One of his closest advisors, Elon Musk, has strained his sights on Europe, setting off alarm bells across the continent. He's endorsed the far-right party Alternative for Germany, demanded the release of jailed UK anti-Islam extremist Tommy Robinson, and called UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer an evil tyrant. Musk's online behavior has become a cause of concern for many, from politicians to analysts.
He's clearly started to use that platform a bit like, an old-style newspaper mogul would in days of old. Increasingly started to assemble a group of different right-wing influencers, many of them with large followings, and presenting their evidence as a basis for his interventions into European politics, whether it's Germany.
These recent statements from the Trump team have ruffled many feathers and created a lot of anxiety. Trump seems to also have his eyes on Greenland and the Panama Canal. All eyes now on the 78-year-old to what steps he would take to fulfill his extraordinary promises. With Vishal Vivek, Bureau Report, NDTV.
Meanwhile, the U.S. Justice Department has said that it intends to release Special Counsel Jack Smith's findings on Donald Trump's efforts to undo the results of the 2020 presidential election, but will keep under wraps for now. The rest of the report focused on the president-elect's hoarding of classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago estate. The revelation was made in a filing to a federal appeals court that was considering a defense request to block the release of the 2-volume report, while charges remain pending against 2 Trump co-defendants in the Florida case accusing the Republican former president and current president-elect of illegally holding classified documents. And according to a new Bloomberg report, President Joe Biden's administration plans one additional round of restrictions on the export of artificial intelligence chips from the likes of NVIDIA just days before leaving office. This is what a final push in his effort to keep advanced technologies out of the hands of China and Russia actually looks like. The US wants to curb the sale of AI chips used in data centers on both a country and company basis, with the goal of concentrating AI development in friendly nations and getting businesses around the world to actually align with American standards. From the US, let's get you a quick update from Canada now, where Finance Minister Dominic LeBlanc has actually decided not to run for leadership of the Liberal Party, saying he needs to focus on countering the threat of tariffs from Donald Trump's administration. LeBlanc said he's grateful for the expressions of support from Liberal lawmakers as well as members from across the country, but won't be a candidate in this upcoming race. In other crucial news, a high-level meeting between the Afghan Taliban leadership and senior Indian officials was organized in Dubai. From India, Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri attended the meeting, while from Afghanistan, the acting Foreign Minister of the Taliban government, Amir Khan Muttaqi, was present. Now, you must note that it was not just a meet and greet sort of a meeting, as it covered a range of issues, which includes India's security concerns in Afghanistan, the need for India to consider engaging in development projects in the near future, Delhi's humanitarian assistance, including support for rehabilitation of Afghan refugees from Pakistan, the use of Iran's Chabahar port for accessing the conflict-ridden country, as well as cricketing ties between the two countries. All this made it to the agenda. And with that, let's turn our attention now to the United Kingdom, which is braced for an icy blast, with temperatures set to plummet as low as -16 degrees Celsius, as a fresh amber snow warning has been issued. Snow and sleet began to hit southern England, as the amber alert came into force, with the Met Office saying further warnings are likely to be issued as the week goes on. But the Met Office has also warned of travel disruption caused by the snow, and also said that some vehicles and passengers could become stranded. So a fair warning for you there. By the way, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and Kemi Badenoch clashed over whether there should be a national inquiry into child sexual abuse by grooming gangs. The Prime Minister says there are mixed views among victims about further inquiries, and what we need now is action rather than another inquiry. But a world-first sanctions regime which specifically targets people smugglers will be introduced by the government this year. This is what the UK is expected to announce. The Foreign Secretary will confirm the measure in a speech today, saying it is part of Labour's plan to reduce channel crossings by targeting criminal networks organising these specific journeys. But as analysts have highlighted, it is not clear what the sanctions could look like, but the government said that it would starve smuggling gangs of illicit finance fueling their operations. But if it works like other sanctioned regimes, this could mean that asset freezes on those suspected of people smuggling, with breaches of the measures punishable by up to 7 years in prison.
This morning I met some of the victims and survivors of this scandal, and they were clear with me that they want action now, not the delay of a further inquiry. The J inquiry, the last national inquiry, was 7 years, which would take us with a further inquiry to 2031. I think action is what's required. Mr. Speaker, this is an important issue, and we have to focus on the victims and survivors, and it isn't helpful. This sort of lies and misinformation and slinging of mud doesn't help them one bit. Doesn't help one bit.
In other news, the big question is, will Lebanon finally elect a president after a 2-year vacuum? Well, Lebanon's parliament is set to convene today to attempt to elect a head of state for the 13th time during a presidential vacuum that's lasted over 2 years now. But this time, analysts say they might succeed. The primary contenders for the presidency include the Lebanese Army's commander, Joseph Aoun, who is widely seen as the preferred candidate of the United States and Saudi Arabia. The candidate previously supported by Hezbollah, Suleiman Frangieh, on Wednesday announced he was pulling out of the race and endorsed Aoun instead. As always, news and updates continue in a moment right after this very short break. Don't go anywhere.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
I now request the Honorable Prime Minister to launch NDTV World and address the summit.
It was the grand launch of NDTV World by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. NDTV World, as he laid out his vision for the India century at the NDTV World Summit.
ऐसी सदी जिसमें भारत के प्रयासों से दुनिया में स्थिरता आए.
In the presence of those who are shaping our future.
मेरी तरफ से आपको ढेर सारी शुभकामनाएं हैं.
NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
Well, the 18th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas in Bhubaneswar kick-started with around 6,000 non-resident Indians, including business leaders, economists, philosophers from 75 countries. They've gathered to celebrate and strengthen its relationship with the global Indian community. Here's a sneak peek for you.
As part of the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas program outlined, there's one very important and a very interesting program that the External Affairs Ministry runs, which is No India program. And with me are 3 out of the 40 participants of the KIP program that the External Affairs Ministry runs. Thank you so much for all of you to join me in this conversation. And let me start first of all by asking you, where are you from and why were you so interested in applying for KIP?
So I'm from South Africa, and why I applied to the KIP is I'm proudly South African, but I've always wanted to learn more about my Indian heritage. And I found out about this program and took the opportunity to apply, and I had to write a motivational letter, and I'm so grateful to be here, so blessed. It's just rich with culture, and I think for us, not knowing Hindi, not knowing our mother tongue, getting to learn, see, like step onto our Indian soil, it's something you can't explain. It's just incredible.
Wonderful feeling, incredible feeling. How do you express this, and what has been your thoughts ever since you've come?
I think, as she said, it's just like getting to know the culture, embracing all of it, and again, coming to India has been a dream of mine. So, thanks to No India program, it has been successful.
And what motivated you to apply for this?
I just love my culture. I love my Indian culture, and I just wanted to come and have the feel of India itself. Yeah.
And would you then, recommend this to your friends, family, other people?
Yes, of course.
100%.
What about you? What motivated you to apply for this? And are you also from South Africa?
No, I'm from Mauritius Island in the south of the Indian Ocean. And what motivated me is that I wanted to know more about the Indian culture. That is, our ancestors came from India, and I wanted to explore the culture here in India, the food, the people, everything about India.
And so what all have you learned so far? What all have you been exposed to so far?
So far, we've been exposed to a lot of historical sites. We've been to the Gandhi Museum, which was, I think, knowing that Gandhi was also in South Africa, for us, that was very close. It was very eye-opening to see what he went through and his journey.
Well, thank you for investing your time and watching this edition of The World 24/7. As always, we'll keep tracking the latest updates for you. Do stay tuned.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
I now request the Honorable Prime Minister to launch NDTV World and address the summit.
It was the grand launch of NDTV World by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. NDTV World, as he laid out his vision for the India century at the NDTV World Summit.
ऐसी सदी जिसमें भारत के प्रयासों से दुनिया में स्थिरता आए.
In the presence of those who are shaping our future.
मेरी तरफ से आपको ढेर सारी शुभकामनाएं हैं.
NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
I now request the Honorable Prime Minister to launch NDTV World and address the summit.
It was the grand launch of NDTV World by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. NDTV World, as he laid out his vision for the India century at the NDTV World Summit.
ऐसी सदी जिसमें भारत के प्रयासों से दुनिया में स्थिरता आए.
in the presence of those who are shaping our future.
मेरी तरफ से आपको ढेर सारी शुभकामनाएं हैं।
NDTV World, your new home for global news is here.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Hello everyone, welcome to Breakfast Show. I'm Radhika Ramaswamy joining you from Mumbai. Divya is joining us from Delhi. Divya, a tragic stampede incident in Tirupati leading to deaths. Battleground Delhi also heating up as elections just a few weeks away, and fresh ground zero updates on LA wildfire. All this and more coming up on the show.
That's right. We have a whole lot lined up for you over the next 1 hour, including, like Radhika mentioned, that tragedy that's unfolded during the token distribution on Thursday night at 8 o'clock for offering prayers at Tirupati. So we have all that covered, and of course the LA wildfires. Vishnu joining us all the way from LA to get us a ground report, and of course in that three-cornered battle in Delhi, who will emerge as the winner is the big question. We have BJP's Manjinder Singh Sirsa decoding what is BJP's strategy for Delhi this time around. Let's first get you the headlines. At least 6 devotees have died and dozens have been injured in a stampede that took place at the Tirupati. This is the incident that took place when hundreds of people had been jostling for tickets near the temple. The Chief Minister will be visiting Tirupati today, and it is the Prime Minister who says that he's extremely pained by that incident that's unfolded at Tirupati.
Very unfortunate incident indeed. In fact, the Prime Minister condoles the loss of lives at Tirupati's stampede incident. Pained by Tirupati stampede is what he has said. Andhra Pradesh government providing all assistance.
And 4 days to go as far as the Mahakumbh is concerned. The Chief Minister will be visiting Prayagraj today.
Delhi Chief Minister Atishi on Wednesday wrote to the Chief Election Commissioner raising serious concerns over alleged large-scale voter deletions and additions in the New Delhi Assembly constituency. She seeks an urgent meeting.
And veteran journalist, poet and filmmaker Pritish Nandi has died in Mumbai on Wednesday. He has died at the age of 73.